What are you doing later? Want to go to dinner?
Sorry, I don't do dinner.
You don't do dinner?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because I have a boyfriend.
That's too bad. I don't usually ask twice, but,
Is that your tank?
yeah, it's my tank.
Well, there's a bar down the road.
There's a what?
A bar down the road if you want to get a drink.
Oh, so now you're interested.
Well, I like tanks.
Well, no tanks. That's your car.
Yeah, that's my car.
Ah!
Thanks, how you do it, boys? Welcome back. Beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely absurd and crazy news to get into today, as of course the international news is actually settling down, as of course domestically the civil situation looks more tumultuous and unfair than ever. We have a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to the more outrageous aspects of our society that, of course, heavily deserve to be criticized, as the divide and conquer agenda just has hit a new all-time crazy level, which we're going to be describing in this particular broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on TheBestPoliticalShirts.com, perfect for family gatherings. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast, I don't know who this absolute top G genius, high IQ mega Chad is, but whoever he is, please let me know so we can attribute this clip to him and, of course, allow them to gain the notable amount of followers that this person deserves. As, of course, this is just creme de la creme magic here. As of course, this guy's probably Slavic. This is the future libertarians want. Some people say it's fake. I don't think it is. As real appreciates real, as of course, the vibes here are totally off the charts. And finding no other way to significantly segue into this next story, let's just jump into it, as of course, finally, we have some good news coming out of the Middle East, as there is an ongoing ceasefire right now and hostage exchange that is seeing a lot of people, including this 4-year-old American girl, after 6 weeks of being held captive by Palestinian military forces, was just finally freed, as many human beings are finally being released and let go from captivity after an American brokered deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians that has finally restored some peace and humanity into the region after 6 weeks of intensive fighting that has devastated local civilians and populations in the region. Will this peace, will this ceasefire continue? Well, with the way that things have been going in the Middle East, probably not, as of course the war in Ukraine is a perfect example of a tumultuous conflict that is another limited war coming from the Henry Kissinger doctrine, as the conflict there has also been escalating, as we get the latest reports from CBS News detailing the, quote, largest Russian drone attack on Ukraine since the start of that conflict, predominantly using Iranian-backed Shahid drones, which caused power outages and specifically were targeting Ukrainian infrastructure on Ukrainians' Holodomor Remembrance Day. This as Ukraine decided to launch their own missiles at Russia, which according to CNN News, Russia destroyed all of, according to the defense minister of that country. All of this as a lot of corruption in Ukraine, the counteroffensive not working, and British media organizations reporting how nearly 650,000 men from Ukraine have actually fled the country, highlighting a very difficult situation for the Ukrainians, as of course we highlighted this many weeks ago, specifically detailing to you, even years ago when this conflict originally started, that this is not an advantageous situation for Ukraine the longer this conflict goes on. We said, hey, if you really care about the country, its people, and its interest, you will try to resolve this conflict, and that's exactly what the West has been not doing, implementing the opposite policy, as even the Daily Mail today is reporting that it's time to, quote, think of the unthinkable and have, quote, Zelensky sign a peace treaty with Putin very soon, especially as now the world focuses on Israel, and the United States is investing heavily in the Middle East and no longer inside of Europe. As this conflict has only emboldened Russia, that now is one of the most nuclear prepared countries in the world, having fully mobilized its country and set up new treaties and alliances with countries like India, while strengthening their previous alliances with countries like Iran and China, as of course there's even more saber rattling between China and the United States today, after U.S. warships have had more contentious encounters with the Chinese in the South China Sea, as China deals with a lot of its own problems with now more reports about a new sickness coming out of the region, as of course the previous sickness was based on a lot of deception and lies, which we perfectly represent on a lot of t-shirts that we have for you on TheBestPoliticalShirts.com, including the one that I'm wearing right now, showing you the different parasites that you should look out for in the wild, especially with, deer ticks, dog ticks, and a lot of lunatics and sociopaths in Washington, D.C. that you should be careful of, as of course, I think this is one of the best t-shirts that you could get, especially when it comes to the future family gatherings that you will have over the holiday season. As of course, we have now unleashed our holiday shirts, which are absolutely incredible and only available on TheBestPoliticalShirts.com. As of course, we have Christmas sweaters. This one celebrating the President of the United States and his future 2024 presidential political campaign, which is doing swimmingly. We have this one that's a little bit too spicy to mention here on this particular broadcast. We have the Grinch who stole Christmas. We have this one, again, too spicy to even mention here on this broadcast. We have this nice rendering of Klaus Schwab telling you that you will own nothing and you will be happy. And truly, whether you're looking for gag gifts or just the gifts that will have the whole family talking in this holiday season, you should go to TheBestPoliticalShirts.com in order to, of course, fulfill your lazy form of activism and help people laugh and critically think about the issues that, of course, affect all of us. And again, some people will get no presents, but they better be happy, as of course, you getting a gag gift or a gift for yourself or a family member this Christmas also helps support this independent media organization. Also, we have a sale currently happening on wearechange.shop, so don't forget to check out the coupon code GiveThanks as this ends tomorrow. So make sure you take advantage of it as you still can, with 25% off our store-wide supplements and health products that are only available to you on wearechange.shop. Some of the top-notch, best stuff out there. Get it now with a sale and support small and independent businesses. As, of course, domestically, let's just say things get a little tumultuous every election cycle, as of course the year's previews have showed us that there is a lot of civil strife and conflicts that leads up towards the deciding of what I call the puppeteer of the United States, as the left-wing and right-wing factions are set against each other and are clashing in what could only be described as a larger culture war, as major political symbols and statues are directly under attack, especially in places like New York City, that just got rid of a statue of Thomas Jefferson inside of its city hall for political correctness ideas. This, as the bifurcation politically is ramping up, as even mainline rhino establishment Republicans like Mitt Romney have pledged not to support the former president of the United States or another political candidate that aligns with his anti-establishment political viewpoints, Vivek Ramaswamy, that Mitt Romney promised to vote Democrat rather than electing those two individuals in his own political party. You add that to the fact to what is also happening with individuals like Derek Chauvin, that Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, came out and said views him as a, quote, political prisoner of the left. And when looking at the facts presented in this particular case, there is a really solid argument to make here around this case, as of course Derek Chauvin was just attacked while in state custody, stabbed multiple times with, quote, life-threatening injuries. An event that disturbed many people, particularly on the right, as of course the political tumultuous situation in the United States is just as tumultuous in Europe, where just a few days ago, Elon Musk declared that Europe is headed towards a civil war. Some people would say those are hyperbolic, sensationalistic statements, but when looking at the current situation inside of Europe, I do believe that there is an argument to make here, as of course there has been a lot of tensions, particularly with replacement populations and declining low birth rates in Europe that have created a demographic shift that historically usually is aligned with the rising of tensions between the different demographics of people that usually, not always, but usually mistreat the minority population. And I do believe there is a lot of merit with Elon Musk warning of a, quote, inevitable civil war in Europe, as of course, even mainline personalities are being arrested. Individuals like this person in front of our camera that has been censored on YouTube, that we can't probably even mention here, that was just arrested for covering a protest that was specifically meant to address anti-Semitic hatred in Europe. As of course, it's important to note here that there have been a lot of counter-protests, a lot of protests surrounding the situation currently inside of the Middle East, and with the state intervening now and arresting major political figures that represent one particular ideology, while the other ideology gets to essentially get away with way more than one, highlights a very unfair, unjust situation that will only create more tensions with this specific conflict that right now is being fought culturally, but soon, at any moment and any instant, could engulf into a real civil conflict like the one that we saw in Ireland not so long ago, where the people there are still divided. As we could see, different groups, different demographics, particularly in Ireland, it was Catholics and Protestants that literally had entire street wars against each other. Now, the situation in the United Kingdom is very troubling, as of course police officers here in this particular clip went after independent journalists and of course are doing their best to try to stop them from doing their work. As in Ireland, as we were just speaking about it, there were major riots after an incident that a lot of people do not know about, as of course the new demographic population that was being introduced has been linked to an increase of crime in the region, particularly after one incident where children were targeted from the local population there and were attacked with a knife. This racial motivated attack spurred on riots in the particular region, as some corporate media outlets tried to obfuscate exactly what was happening here, to the point where even MMA superstar Conor McGregor decided to get involved in this and to even declare himself, quote, "We are at war." Major statements that are now, according to the Sunday Times, having him investigated by the state for online hate speech, as it's fair to say that Conor McGregor definitely didn't hold back his political opinions and expressions here, describing the, quote, mentally deranged non-nationals in Dublin that attacked children in that country that Conor McGregor had some other choice words for. This, as the Dublin riots are just one tumultuous event after another that we really don't hear a lot about, particularly in the Western press. Now, what will happen to Conor McGregor, especially after this online hate speech investigation? Well, in Europe, you could actually go to jail for expressing any kind of opinions that the state deems irreprehensible or offensive. Similar laws that, by the way, they just instituted in New York City, where a man was arrested for harassing a street food vendor. But he wasn't only just charged with harassment, he was charged with hate speech, prosecuted, arraigned, and charged for, of course, offending someone. Now, Conor McGregor being investigated and potentially facing new charges over expressing anger to an incident that had small children there particularly attacked in his home country, as he was critical of the mass migration policies that have led to this situation, is something that only, of course, will get a rise of the local population and only inflame this situation even further, as it's fair to argue here that the state's interaction here, the Koch brothers plan that, of course, replaces populations, increases the price of housing, while at the same time decreasing the price of labor, highlights a direct assault and situation on the poor and middle class of home countries that are directly attacked. And you add that to the fact of low reproduction rates, and you have what some have described as an attack against, quote, Western civilization. Now, some people disagree with those larger sentiments. Some agree, but what do you think? Is this a direct attack against, quote, Western civilization, as some have called it? If you agree, in the comment section, press 1. If you disagree, press number 2 and let me know your arguments, as it's fair to say that this problem is not going away, And with the importation of new populations, we can not only expect the price of housing to go up, the cost of labor to go down, but for more civil strife and tensions amongst local populations to go up, as of course in New York City. There's local poor populations that used to depend on the state and social services and other charity groups for food and help and aid and assistance that are no longer getting it because of the huge migrant population that, of course, was welcomed in by the local politicians there, who now are having second thoughts about what they wished for. As, of course, New York City is now a sanctuary city, but a city that, of course, now doesn't have the resources to help and take care of some of the poorest in its society, which now breeds more tensions amongst the new population that was just brought in there. What will be the result of these new policies? Well, we hope things de-escalate. We hope that people get to be cordial and peaceful and respectful of each other. But let's be honest here. History usually tells a very different tale. What do you think's going to be happening here? Let me know down in the comment section below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively getting the shirts, getting the supplements that, of course, I have here for you. And because you do, that's why I am still here. That's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.